This video is brought to you by Law Excellence IAS Academy.
Dear students, good morning. Welcome to DEEP, Daily Editorial Enrichment Program of Law Excellence IAS. Let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 14th June 2019. The first article for discussion, City on Edge. This is about Hong Kong as a city. So let us understand few points related to Hong Kong. It was initially under UK sovereignty. UK actually took Hong Kong on lease and later it was transferred to China. In 1997, the property was transferred from UK to China after the lease has come to an expiry. UK has built a strong democratic system in Hong Kong. On the other hand, Chinese system is communist and authoritative. So, the philosophy which has come to see this is one nation, two systems. The China clearly stated that do not intend to disturb whatever the system that is running in Hong Kong. And now, Hong Kong runs on a basic law, which is kind of a constitution. And this basic law forms the premise for every law, every rule on Hong Kong. So, in this scenario, Hong Kong people are very sensitive for imposition of any authoritative system coming from China. So in this case, China wants to have control over the law and order police system out over there. So a bill which it has brought in that is called extradition bill. According to this, any person of Hong Kong can be extradited with the approval of the city council over there. The city council of Hong Kong is actually a puppet today in the hands of China. So that's why China can get any person of the Hong Kong extradited and trial can be conducted in Beijing. So it means that a Hong Kong person can be put to a punishment with the trial conducted in China. So that is the reason why the people of Hong Kong are opposing to this. Whenever China tried to change the system, initiate a change, there is repulsion from the people. Either deregistration of the political parties or with regard to prohibition of certain political parties or certain ideologies to exist. So banning of certain people to running of the office, all these things were opposed by the people. So in this context, the Hong Kong is going through a cycle of reform and repression. So it is the time there has to be a permanent solution for this. That is what is this question talks about, this article talks about. And the next is, liberals need to think again. So let me ask you a question. In 18th century in India, sati was rampant. And also, divorce was seen as a sin in Christian Europe. So Hindu system which is promoting sati, and everyone argued that either it is the women who with their free will are trying to go for sati. That is what is the conservative argument. Whenever it was questioned as a inhuman practice, they tried to support it saying that yes, it is the free will of the woman which is pushing them towards sati. So what are the other choice which they have? We can evaluate one's choice based on the alternatives that are available to them. So in the 18th century in India, woman has to bear the brunt of the death of the husband or shall voluntarily submit to fire. So as the choice, other choice is much worse to lead a life. So that's why she submitted to the fire herself. And the second, if you see, divorce itself is seen as a sin and ostracized in the 19th century Europe. So what is the alternative we have? The wife is faced with degradation and starvation for herself and the children. So in this context, she is ready to continue in a marriage where she is not happy. So conservatives always used to say that she is continuing in the marriage on free will. So that's why the free will is getting narrowly defined. So if we have to analyze the free will, we have to understand it based on the alternatives that are existing before them. Without a choice, the free will becomes meaningless. That is what the essence of this article. Faint glimmer. This is about revival of the industrial sector. In the industrial sector, capital goods sector got revived. What is the meaning it will send us? Capital goods are those goods which are used to produce others. So, in this case, if the capital good, who will be buying that? It will be mostly an entrepreneur. It means the investment climate in India is becoming positive, and private investments are expected to increase. That is the positive sign. Second is the monetary policy support also has come positive from the RBI. But however, there are two concerns that still remain, which are related to inflation. Remember carefully, the retail inflation is increasing. As on today, it is within the targets of inflation. That is 4.4% is the target to the RBI. So it is within the limits of this 4%. When it crosses this 4%, RBI has to tighten its monetary policy. Once RBI tightens the monetary policy, what will happen now? Then obviously the growth gets affected. So managing the inflation shall be the concern. The food prices and fuel prices are increasing. The monsoon concerns are there for rise in food prices, because though we expect a normal monsoon this year, the distribution of the monsoon is a greater concern for us. And then we have something called fuel prices. The fuel prices are also on a rise, especially the volatile situation in West Asia. It can lead to the rise in fuel prices. And the second, the trade war between China and US worsening. It is going to show headwinds towards the global growth rate, and Indian exports are also expected to fall. So in this context, India has still challenges to sustain its economic growth. The next, do exams throttle India's education system? Let us understand how the evolution of the exam system occurred. Initially, when Britishers were there, they want few clerks to the government posts. So that's why they kept a strict system of exam to eliminate the people who are not worthy for the jobs. It means exam system was a tool to eliminate. As the seats in the higher education were also limited, exam system more acted like a tool to manage this. And the second is to protect the merit. And the argument on the process of the merit is it is creating equality across all the people, either a rich person, poor person, either a privileged or marginalized. Everyone has to take the exam. So that's why upholding the principle of equality and through it merit has become the objective of the exam system. But however, today the opportunities for higher education and secondary education have increased tremendously. But the world exam system which has come into existence is still continuing. And the second is, with regard to the equality, now we cannot gauge all the children and their mind through common standards. So we need to create differential, creative standards to understand the needs of the children. So that's why the exam system which originated in a different circumstances is more irrelevant today. And today how the exam system is, the assessment system in the exam is based on a model answer. And these model answers, if the student stuck to it, they will get the marks. That's why a kind of rotten learning and information accumulation is promoted rather than the innovation. And assessment is only once in a year, and it is brutal. So in the place of this, in the European countries, an assessment is a child-centric. An assessment is to understand the children. It is not to test the children. And it is to develop a kind of critical thinking in the minds of the children. But in India, the assessment and evaluation is meant to make the children to mug up something, and it is a way towards the rotten learning rather than enlightenment. That is the bigger challenge. In this context, right to education, it has brought in comprehensive and continuous evaluation system. But the school education structure is very much repulsive to this, and it was finally dropped. Now it is left to the state governments to decide either to go ahead with the board exams or not. So Indian system is too rigid to change. But however, if we can humanize the entire education system, the purpose of education, and then the entire objective of knowledge gathering and critical thinking is bound to improve. In this case, the draft national education policy is also talking about holistic learning. It has proposed a new thing that is called module based exam. It means there will be no annual exams, Whenever you feel that you're prepared for a particular subject, you can take the exam based on that module. This kind of thing is proposed over here. And what we can say is the assessment system shall be helping the child to understand his interests and disinterests. An evaluation system, he has to provide for the critical thinking in the mind of the child, not just remembrance and the rotten learning. That is the essence of this article. Democracy can die in a daylight too. What is the role of the media in a democracy? It has to be a watchdog. So that is the reason why it is said as the most important structure that can help us to evaluate the democracy. So that's why to verify, to witness, to investigate, and to make sense. These are the words important for the media. In this case, media is also a business. It means there is a conflict between public and private interests of the media. Media in India, especially, is becoming vulnerable because of its financial interests. In these circumstances, the media has become a trumpet to particular ideology, particular individual, particular political party in India. Obviously, it is doing an injustice to the democratic role which it is expected to play. That is the essence of this article. Finally, thank you. Have a great day.